Hello and welcome to Attacking Third. It's Sandra Herrera, joined alongside Darian Jenkins, and we've got a special United States Women's National Team roster drop reaction. We're gonna get our initial thoughts. We're gonna go through some of the fast facts of this roster. There's some surprises because there are not as many European-based players on this roster. We got to talk about goalkeepers and just in general who we're excited to see on this roster. Thank you all for joining us on Attacking Third, whether you're with us live on YouTube or listening to us as a podcast. We're just happy that you're here. And of course, I'm happy to break it all down with you. Darian, how are you today?
I'm good. We got good news. Roster drop. Tomorrow's Juneteenth. I'm live. So today's good. How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling high, feeling fly. Honestly, like I'm with you. It's Pride. It's we got Juneteenth on the
Yep.
horizon. We've got, at least if you're in Chicago, we got some pretty steamy days coming up. We're gonna be in some
I'll be there.
90s.
I'll be in your hood.
Yep. So I'm feeling very excited about that. Like I've got friends coming in, so it's a good time right now, and it's always a good time for that USWNT roster to drop, especially in the Emma Hayes era, because quite frankly, you just never really know what you're going to get in 2025 with Emma Hayes and the United States women's national team. They have a trio of summer friendlies that are coming up. The United States women's national team will face Ireland in a 2-game series beginning on June 26th against Ireland, and then conclude that pair of friendlies against Ireland on June 29th. So they're going to start in Colorado and then end in Cincinnati, Ohio. And then on the horizon on July 2nd, they will face their longtime CONCACAF rivals, Canada, at Audi Field in Washington, D.C. So a trio of friendlies. What a summer for USWNT. Let's get into this roster and who is on it, starting with the goalkeepers. We got Angelina Anderson, Claudia Dickey, and Mandy McGlynn. For defenders, there are 10 in Carrie Abello, Jordan Bugg, Naomi Girma, Lily Reale, Tara McKeown, Avery Patterson, Izzy Rodriguez, Emily Sams, Emily Sonnet, and Giselle Thompson. Midfielders, 6 with Croy Bethune, Sam Coffey, Claire Hutton, Rose Lavelle, Sam Mesa, Olivia Moultrie, and the forwards also with 6 with Lynn Biondolo, Michelle Cooper, Yasmin Ryan, Emma Sears, Ali Setnor, and Alyssa Thompson. What a roster. Darian, you got to hit me with your first thoughts. You see this roster, you drop it in front of yourself and you start combing through it. What are the things that stand out to you right away?
Initial thought is you can never predict what the hell a roster is going to look like under Emma Hayes. And I absolutely love that because we've talked how US soccer for so long was you could predict every single position besides maybe one, a new player that may get called in, a familiar face that's kind of been in and out. And now, especially the players, the bubble players, where I see like an Emma Sears, a Yasmin Ryan that we don't consistently get called in, it just proves to show, hey, if you're performing well with club, you're going to get another chance. Maybe it's not right now, maybe it's in the next window, maybe it's in a couple months. She's consistently stayed true to those words. We love Emma Hayes. But the number one thing that stood out to me, Corey Bethune and Rose Lavelle are back, baby. They're back with the women's national team. We've been missing that flair, that dribbling, that savviness on the ball that I think differentiates these players and adds just another level to that midfield that is much different than what we've seen the past few rosters that have been announced in the past few games. So I love this. I think it's going to be a huge asset for the forwards that are brought into this camp as well when you have cheeky players like that are hungry to get minutes at this stage. So that was probably the most exciting thing that I saw. But what stood out to you, my bud?
I gotta say the return from injury, like Rose Lavelle, is a huge one. Like, can't ignore that, right? This is the player who essentially has not been in the mix for U.S. Women's National Team, roughly going on 7 months. Following those friendlies that she participated in against the Netherlands to close out the 2024 calendar year, Roosevelt had ankle surgery, and ankle's a tricky thing. Like, you never know how that's gonna
I know.
go. You you're like, preach. You got to take your time with that. You got to have your check-ins and you got to listen to your body, right? And turns out Roosevelt has been putting together some minutes for Gotham, and obviously has shown that she has most likely is still that same impactful player that we know her to be, even with just some of the limited minutes or minutes restriction that we have seen her on so far. And so it's not too surprising after she's put together a couple of good performances for Gotham to see her back in the mix for this one, especially with the game on the horizon in her hometown. So I'm excited to see that. But I also, in that same breath, very excited to see Croix Bethune, someone I think in one of our last USWT episodes that I was excited to see, like, what's this roster going to look like when a Croix Bethune is getting those minutes and is healthy? And we're going to get to find out. So I love when we just sort of speak it into existence and then it happens. And speaking
Power
of
manifesting.
yes, and speaking of the power of manifesting, you already know I was thrilled to see Kansas City Current Izzy Rodriguez on this roster. I gotta use this time. I'm gonna go ahead and reclaim it, Darian. I'm gonna reclaim my time. I have been on the Izzy Rodriguez hype
You
train.
have.
Sola. I've been riding that alone. Solo. I've tried to nominate her a couple times for our team of the week. I've been talked down. I've conceded, but I just felt a little bit of validation in this. I'm like, yes, here we go. Izzy Rodriguez in the mix. And I was like, of course, it's not just one though with Emma Hayes on this roster. It's never just like one player that's getting that first time call up. No, it's always like a handful of them. And that's also the case in this roster as well. 4 players across this roster who are earning their first ever call-ups. Along with Izzy Rodriguez, there's also Jordan Bugg, Lily Reale, and midfielder Sam Mesa. Darian, of these 4 players, who's one that stands out to you? Who's one that you want to see, that you absolutely want to see get some minutes over the course of these 3 games with the national team?
Lily Reale. That left back position to me, when Crystal Dunn isn't in camp, is wide open. I think that's actually the most coveted position if you're a young player looking to break into the national team, that you should be developing your game to make the team on. Because Crystal playing, we don't know where she's going to go next. She's playing abroad right now. She's overseas. She's taking some rest. But I don't think US Soccer has ever had a truly valid backup to Crystal Dunn. Say if she gets injured, knock on wood, or just life happens, or she's not able to make a window, or just some matches. You need somebody that can maintain that level, that service, that reliability, that dependability in the back line. And for me, I think Lily Reale needs to improve defensively, and I think this is a way where we're going to see her game jump. But what she can bring attacking wise to me is better than the rest of the players in that position right now. I think her service off of her left is incredible. She can pick people out on a dime. The way that she gets end line, her combination play with those in front of her, we're seeing that build in her game. I absolutely love this call up. We saw her. She got called up with the U23s. She's had a really good youth career with the U.S. national team. This is the time to step up and elevate. So I was stoked to see her name, not just because she went to UCLA, but I think she's proved a really, really good pro. And this was the next natural step for her to elevate her game. Which one of those, though, stood out to you the most?
I mean, I'm with you. I would venture to say, and I know we're going to get into the weeds in this when we do other episodes specifically around NWSL, but as we reach that midway point of the season, some of those end of year award type of conversations are going to start to kind of maybe narrow themselves down. And I think obviously Riley Turner is doing incredible things, but I think Lily Reale is one of these players that has built a case for herself. It's why she's on this national team roster. They want to see it. The coaching staff has, Emma Hayes has kind of reinvigorated, rebooted that U23 program. And within that, for those players who are quote unquote not ready right now, so to speak, they get a shot in there, and maybe what comes out of that, they get in a future opportunity on a national team roster. And we're seeing that in Lily Reale. And it's a unique opportunity, I think, for the coaching staff, because along with Abello and Izzy Rodriguez, Lily Reale is one of these 3 left-footed outside backs in the mix of this national team roster. So I'm very, very curious how, when, and where, and if some of these players are going to be utilized by Emma Hayes across that back line. She did do some media availability shortly after this roster dropped. I sat in on it, Darian, and I wanted to ask about that because Giselle Thompson is also back on this roster. And I was very curious if there is still some of that game plan from the coaching staff to want to try to see Giselle Thompson and what she could provide across lines. Will we get to see her positionally in different scenarios? Because that was essentially the plan for last window, but she had to pull out with an injury. Emma Hayes said they'd like to see that, but she is listed on here as a defender for a reason. There is no Emily Fox. She is among a handful of players who's not in this camp, because Emma Hayes has already gone on record and said that there were going to be European specific club playing players who will not be part of this window, with the lone exception being Naomi Girma. And to Naomi Girma's credit, it's part of the plan. She wanted to be in the mix for this national team window because she understands that there was a lot of this first half of the year that she really hasn't been a part of that team. So she wanted to get the extra camp and she wanted to get the extra games. And so with Giselle Thompson, Abello, Rodriguez, Reale, there's some options here for this coaching staff to kind of maybe play around with some things. And 3 games as well. That's a lot more games than we typically see in just like a brief window. So I have a feeling that maybe we'll get to see a little bit of a rotation in that aspect. But in terms of players that I absolutely want to see get minutes, yes, Lily Reale is 100% on there for me, as is Izzy Rodriguez as well. And
we have to give credit to Lola Bonta, because on our Monday show, she shouted out Izzy Rodriguez. We had her, McCall, and I talked about unsung heroes of our careers, past and present. And Lo waxed poetic about Izzy Rodriguez. And friend of the show, we did a dope interview with her post game, and she talked about how she's just the backbone of the team. She puts the team before her. She's one of those players that makes a locker room. So then to hear all of that behind the scenes, how great she is on and off the pitch, to then get the call up, shout out. Lo called it out.
I'm like, hype it up, gas it up, let's do it. And the numbers are there too. Like that's something that Emma Hayes has kind of like leaned on a little bit as well. Like whenever anyone's just like, hey, like, what is it about this player that got them back in the mix? And she said that this is a player that has caught her eye for some time, but this is finally the window of opportunity to get her called into the mix and have her, be part of this national team camp and see what she does. I mean, this is a player that's like within top 4 of players who have like created chances created for Kansas City. And she's number 2 on the team in, like, everyone loves to talk about like XG. I'm here to talk about XA, and that belongs to Izzy Rodriguez with 1.82. So she's second, like only beat out by like Debinha, like someone who has put together, a crazy MVP caliber type of season in the first 10 weeks of the regular season. So to kind of put up these numbers and kind of have them like on a consistent basis, I think those are the things that are going to catch the eyes of an Emma Hayes and her coaching staff and her scouts. So I love to see things like this kind of come to fruition. It's why we're going to also see Claudia Dickey, the goalkeeper, back in the mix for this as well. And I think maybe that's another one of those big question marks.
Yeah.
There's no Fallon Tullis-Joyce in this one. She is one of those European-based players that Emma Hayes says, you're going to get some time off. Get out of here. Go try and enjoy your summer. When you're looking at this trio of goalkeepers, we're talking Mandy McGlynn is leading the race here with a whole whopping 3 caps for goalkeeper. Angelina Anderson, Claudia Dickey with 0. Like, there's 3 games here. Is there a chance that we see a game apiece for these goalkeepers?
I hope so. It's a big opportunity. My perspective on this is, yes, give PTJ her rest, let her go be a marine biologist, and use some of her off time to do that. She's such a badass.
Yeah.
But I think she's number 1. I think it was so clear in the last call up how she's been with Manchester United, the level that she's brought, how we've seen her grow from her first cap to this has been super impressive. So for these other keepers, 3 games, it's a huge opportunity. Can you instill the principles, and can we see it play out with some confidence and authority to get that second competing for first position that's going to push this goalkeeping position even more so than we're seeing right now? So I think it's a massive opportunity, but I don't know if McGlynn has second. I hope that we see each of them get a game apiece. I would, that's what I'm really putting out to the soccer gods. Do you think that we'll see each of them get minutes?
I want to say yes, but it's also the games in front of them that make it really interesting for me. It's 2 games against Ireland, which they're no strangers to this opponent. You know, they
Mhm.
faced
They're
Ireland
scrappy.
in recent years, yes, and they're definitely rough and tumble. Like I think there's a certain layer of play or level of play that they're almost going in expecting from this Ireland side. So who do you want in net for that, and what type of test do you want either of the goalkeeper to face? And then on the horizon, you've got Canada, which I think of the 3 matches you can arguably say like that's the heater. That's the
Yeah.
game where you're gonna see the curveballs, the fastball, whatever. Like you're gonna see some very very good stuff there. So who's the keeper that you want to get that? For me, I'm like I kind of want to see Mandy McGlynn there, and
I think that's right.
maybe you give those first caps to Anderson and Dickey against Ireland. You know, let them get their feet wet, finally earn that first cap. So I would love to see each goalkeeper get a game in this one, but we're not the coaches, we're not the coaching staff. Who knows what they really want to see out of this? Maybe in a similar fashion to Tully's Joyce, maybe they want to see McGlynn get back-to-back games. I do not know. We will have to see it. The poll has made their feelings known. The chat has said that 70% of you all want to see Claudia Dickey get starts in this window. 20% to McGlynn, 10% to Anderson. The chat also wants to know, Darian, is it possible? Can we see Rose Lavelle and Croix Bethune on the field at the same time, or are they too similar?
Wow, in my dreams, yes, they're on the field at the same time. I think it would have to change the structure of the midfield a bit. It would make one or both of them have to alter their game just because of how attacking minded both of these players are, how they like time on the ball, they like to go forward. You can't leave that vacancy in the midfield. So I would love to see it. I think that there's a world in which it can happen, but I think it would have to change structurally in the midfield of what that actually looks like so that there is safety behind that huge gap that one or both could leave. Because, I mean, the magic of both of them attacking at the same time, combining to get in front of goal, I think would be magic to watch, but high risk, high reward. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We know Emma likes to experiment. We may see it.
we might see it. I'm with you on that, though. I kind of feel in this build up, I'm not looking so much as this the build up at this point to the 27-28 World Cup. I know that it is on paper. I'm looking at it shorter than that. I'm looking at it
Same.
as a build up to the November 26 World Cup qualifiers. Like
Mhm.
who's in the running in the build up to that? So with Roosevelt's return, I think you want to see her with some of these players, this pool, this newly expanded player pool by Emma Hayes, to see like how does she look with Michelle Cooper? How does she look with, an Ali Sentnor? These players who are maybe vying for a position of like a third best option or fourth best option behind her ideal starters. And then in the other side of that, I want to see Croix Bethune get more minutes with like triple espresso S type players when they are available. Maybe a Katerina Macario. Like those are the play. Like I want to see those duos or trios. So we'll see. I would love to see them both at the same time. I don't know if we'll get it though. It's an exciting roster. I'm sure we're going to have some things to keep an eye on. Darian, do you have any final thoughts on the roster before we bid the people farewell?
I don't. I love it. I can't wait to see it. Let's see all the goalkeepers get a match and how they fare up against Ireland and Canada.
I'm with it. Same with you. I don't have much more to say because now once that roster drops, it's about the games. It's about the minutes and what comes out of those. And we're gonna keep you in tune with all those things. We'll have previews, we'll have recaps, we're gonna have all our thoughts and feelings about USWNT going up against Ireland and Canada. Attacking third is going to return on Thursday, June 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern. So just find yourself right back here on YouTube as we go ahead and celebrate Juneteenth, and we welcome in so many more players, former players, current players, coaches. Maybe we'll have some surprise interviews. If one thing we're going to do here on Attacking Third is go ahead and surprise people with interviews, maybe even ourselves. So thank you all for joining us. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Pride. Come on back and visit us. Thanks for being here.